Excuses are for losers. Excuses are for losers. Now, before anyone takes offense at me using the word loser, you have to understand losing is not necessarily, being a loser is not about winning or losing. That's not what it's about. It's about having a winning or a loser personality, a winner or a loser way of thinking. Give me an example. I've played sports. Many of you have probably played sports. I've even coached basketball as an adult at the junior high school level, and I've had times when I won by a lot, times I've lost by a lot, and I just have experienced both sides of the coin. And there is a simple way of looking at things as a winner and a loser. You can win the game with a losing attitude, and you can lose the game with a winning attitude. Example. Someone who had a good game, but they're looking at the score sheet and they're saying, "Oh, I made 38 points and he had 40 points and he had more points than me. Oh, I could have done better." That's a losing mentality because you're not looking at what you could have learned from the experience, right? And a winning mentality is in a loss is simply, "Oh, we lost game by a lot of points and it really hurt, but you know what? I'm going to use this pain, I'm going to take it to practice, and I'm going to make the most out of the next practice that we have." That's a winner's mentality, okay? That's why I say excuses are for losers. Excuses are just a way to excuse yourself out of responsibility for what should have happened or the best thing that could have happened. So example, someone who didn't do their homework, a student that didn't do their homework. There are two ways that they can deal with that. They can own up to it and say, "Hey, I didn't do my homework. I was busy. Some things happened last night, X, Y, Z." Or they can say, "Oh, well, I just didn't have time and I didn't really understand the homework. And if you had taught the lesson better, then maybe I would understand." Look, the simple problem remains. The homework did not get done. And the thing with excuses is simple. Excuses are just a way of addressing a problem that's not solved yet. Look at the world around you, all of the great things around you, any invention you can imagine, television, YouTube, speakers, smart speakers, cars, rocket ships, satellites, the list goes on and on and on. Every single one of these things was simply an idea in someone's head. And they had to go through a lot of obstacles to invent the thing, right? Whatever you're speaking of. And just like imagine this problem, this idea, the thing that you want to solve being a lump mass in the middle of the street. You have two choices, right? You could walk around the lump and say, "Oh man, that lump is there. It's just in the way. I wish someone would move it. Gosh, someone should really move it." Or you could be the person to say, "I'm going to solve the problem. I can do it. I'm going to fix it." And maybe in another way of saying that is maybe this lump of mass in the middle of the street is just a simple problem or invention or something that you need to do to move to that next level in your career or in your life. Think of the spaceships and the rockets and the microchips and your cell phone. There's a time when someone was sitting in their head thinking, "How can I create this?" And simply put, there are two groups of people. There are the talkers and the doers. And the talkers are the ones who say, "Oh," when they see something that someone created, say, "Oh, I had the idea 10 years ago. I could have done that," but they didn't. The doers, on the other hand, are the people that said, "I had that idea 4 years ago, and I kept working on this idea until I made it happen." That's what a doer does. Doers find solutions. Talkers look for excuses. Solutions or excuses. And I know this is a little bit tough to understand and maybe to hear, but your feelings don't really matter in this. They really don't. Like, did you get the job done? Did you do it? It was too hard. I didn't have time. Nobody helped me. I don't have enough money. It doesn't matter. Those things don't matter. The only thing that matters is, did you wake up, find a way to get the job done, and do it? Yes or no? I feel like you're attacking me. I feel like I didn't have a chance. I feel like you're doing me wrong. The problem still is not solved yet. So if you have some great idea, some kind of challenge in your life, and you're walking around saying, I would do it except, I would be able to complete this problem, but, then you're an excuse maker, and you're letting your feelings get in the way of solving the problem. Anything you see in your life around you, before it was created, there were excuses as to why it couldn't be created. It's too hard, it's too expensive, no one would use it, I don't know how to do it, I don't have any help. But everything that you see around you was created by someone who, despite those excuses, saddled up and solved the problem. Look at excuses kind of like a mountain, right? Excuse solution, right? Have you ever climbed a mountain? It doesn't have to be Mount Everest or a really large mountain like that. Some mountains you could climb as little as 20 minutes or an hour, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. But think about how you feel about that mountain when you are, let's say, a few kilometers away from it, a few miles away from it, and you look in the distance and it just looks so large and unscalable. And then you move a little bit closer and it looks even bigger. And you're standing right next to the mountain. You almost have to look straight up. But then an interesting thing happens when you start climbing the mountain. You start trying to solve that problem. You stop making excuses for how big the mountain is, and you start actually tackling the problem. You walk a little bit, you climb a little bit, and all of a sudden you see you're 25% away up the mountain. 25%. And you keep going again, and you see, oh my gosh, I'm halfway up the mountain. And you continue this for a little bit longer, and all of a sudden you realize that you're almost at the top. And then when you get to the top, you look down and you wonder, why did I spend so much time thinking that this mountain was unclimbable, that was so big? And that's what happens to excuses when you stop using them and tackle the problem. When you put the excuses down and say, you know what, let me just jump in. A lot of times, especially after you finish and you're on the far side of that problem, you've already solved it. You think, why did I spend so much time and energy worrying about why I couldn't do it and why it seemed so hard? And you surprise yourself, and it'll change the way you look at your problems in the future. Is it really that big of a problem? Maybe I should just get started, huh? So remember, guys, excuses are not for winners. Winners don't make excuses. Winners get started and they find solutions. And you might not find one big solution, but you start finding many solutions. And then you find more small mini solutions. And then all of these small solutions turn into the big solution that help you solve a problem, instead of the excuses that you made before you started trying to solve it. Don't make excuses. Excuses are for losers. See you next time, guys.